Thank you for watching Jakarta Group News Channel. I'm Florence Armein. This is The Perspective, and this episode we have the pleasure of talking to the editor-in-chief of Globe Asia, Indonesia's #1 business magazine, Shoeb Kagda. Hi Shoeb, it's been 2 years since we last spoke, and this is an interesting topic because you'll be talking about 150 richest billionaires or conglomerates in Indonesia. So it's been 2 years since we've spoke, and I know this is an annual publication, an annual production from Globe Asia. But how has wealth been distributed since then?
Well, it's good to be back, Flo, and yes, this is our 10th edition of the Globe Asia Rich List. Over the past 10 years, we have seen wealth really shifting. It started off, of course, with the commodities boom, and at that time, whoever owned a coal mine was on my list.
Yeah.
That shifted to consumer after the collapse of the commodities market, and now we are seeing a shift in tech, into tech. So going forward, we will probably get a lot more technopreneurs on our rich list.
Yeah, but you do have that special edition on this time on
yes, we have
the tech giants.
Yes, we have a select list of the top 12 technopreneurs in the country and how much they are worth.
Yeah.
It's in our next issue.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned earlier on the sideline, in 2007 when you started, there were only about 7 billionaires listed on your rich list, and now we are looking at 36.
Yes, I think that is indicative of a tremendous growth in the economy over the past decade. Wealth, of course, is created from economic growth and from business growth, you know. As I said earlier, initially a lot of that growth came from the commodities boom, you know, people who had coal mines, people who had access to plantations, palm oil, all of that went up. So it has grown steadily. We went from 7 to 15 to 20, and now we are at 37. So I think it's indicative of also the entrepreneurial spirit and drive that exists within Indonesia's business community.
And how has this affected the economy itself?
Well, at the end of the day, business drives growth, and you've seen the economy growing at 6.5% over a decade on a compounded basis. That's huge. Indonesia has been among the fastest growing economies in the world. Even today, when the growth is at 5%, it is still one of the fastest growing in the world. I think that shows the resilience of the economy, and I think more importantly, the business acumen of the big companies in Indonesia.
Now, under the new government, Shoeb, Jokowi and Yusuf Kala's administration, there has been a lot of efforts in trying to boost the economy. Policy packages, we know it, 12 chapters out, and it's now a matter of implementation. Do you see this will also affect wealth in the near future? And do you see also another interesting shift in the next 10 years on your list because triggered by that reform?
Yes, definitely. I think you know, the government has a key role to play in helping businesses and entrepreneurs grow their business, right? The question is, you know, what is that role? The government is also a player because through BUMNs, the state-owned enterprises, it actually participates in the economy directly. But on the other hand, it's also a regulator. It has always been achieving the right balance. Now, generally around the world, governments with a lighter touch on regulations tend to see faster economic growth. And I think the Jokowi government has realized that because one of the key priorities of the president is to cut red tape. And you know, he set up the single window within BKPM. He's looking at cutting regulations on the regional level. All this helps business because at the end of the day, if an entrepreneur or a business leader is tied up with trying to get licensing and regulations, and the cost of business goes up. Now that, of course, also impacts his business, right? Indonesia is a high-cost economy. So if we reduce those costs, you will see, hopefully, faster growth. and more businesses doing better.
Yeah, and you yourself is a practitioner. You're in the thick of things. How, if you may share with us the mood from the business sector of the current reform that's been undertaken by Jokowi's administration?
I think the general mood really is optimistic. They're encouraged by the government's response to their concerns. But there is still a little bit of caution in terms of, okay, let's see whether they walk the talk, really, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the government is pushing very hard on that. But again, you know, removing bureaucratic red tape is probably the single most difficult thing any government can take on.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we'll go back to 150 richest Indonesian after the short break.